You are not stuck in traffic, you are the traffic. What do you wish more people realized? Loving someone doesn't mean that they're good for you. Love puts you in a delusional state where this fact fades away. I fell in love with a woman with some serious issues. Part of me feels awful for her. But part of me can't get over all that she put me through. I still love her and I think she loves me too, but I know we can't be together. The whole relationship ended up having a significant impact on my life. Definitely didn't expect to be where I am now. But I'm redirecting my path and trying to move forward in a positive way. That fog when you're in love with someone and want to do just about anything to make it work even if you know it's not good, is hard to explain. Hope you're doing okay. That for the vast majority of humans, life is actually getting better. Because you have student loans and can't afford a detached house doesn't mean the world is ending. That is just the result of a leveling of incomes across the globe, and the rise of millions out of poverty. Your parents and grandparents existed in a unique time in history when the West first went into massive debt to create a middle class, and they enjoyed unprecedented relative wealth. Now the rest of the world is slowly catching up. Your life is still better than 99% of the planet. Look around. Perfume should be discovered, not announced. I work with a girl who is insanely nice and I love her personality. But I don't even have to turn my head to know if she's in the same room as me. I can smell her perfume from 30 feet away, without looking, literally every time she comes around. It's too much. Smell harassment is a concept in Japan that needs to spread. Someone wearing scent in public is frowned upon in Japanese society, and someone wearing enough to be smelled from a distance is considered an a-hole. Japanese are baffled by the Western love for strong scents everywhere. Personally, I prefer their stance. How hard finding good and fitting friends is. Especially once you're no longer in school. Everyone gets busy and goes their separate ways. And on sort of the opposite side, that once you pass a certain age, having friends is more about being reliable than almost anything else. Once people get older and their lives get more busy and complicated, they're not going to invite you to stuff if you're the type to flake, leave them on read, be late, etc. I know too many people who coasted on being the unreliable, but life of the party when they do show up friend in their early 20s. And then wonder why their friendships fizzled out in their late 20s and 30s. That it's not the responsibility of a celebrity that isn't involved in kids' shows to set an example for your kids. Just because someone is famous doesn't mean it's their responsibility to be a perfect role model. Everyone does bad or questionable things from time to time. If media followed your every move, they could paint you as a monster pretty easily. Especially so for streamers. It's so annoying to see people go around and say that these streamers have a moral obligation to be a good influence on strangers' children. Or to use their platform to speak out about some injustice, or try to promote some activist group or things of that nature. They don't. If they do use their platform to do that, good for them. But if they don't, it's okay. That the life you portray on social media isn't real. This is the reason I don't have Instagram, because people pretend like they are living the best life when actually it's all for show. My partner is one of those people. We could be in an argument but she'll want to do a boomerang of champagne glasses or something clinking and put on Instagram how good everything is. I don't even like champagne, and having to sit there redoing boomerangs until she gets one she likes is infuriating. That just because you're stressed or angry at something doesn't mean you have to take it out on everyone around you. Look for help. When I got divorced, I stopped being angry about so many things. If you're angry all the time, then take a look at your life to try to understand what's causing you distress. Depression may not look like you expect it to. It isn't limited to being sad and crying. Sometimes it comes out as anger, frustration, and becoming easily annoyed. It could also make you feel numb and apathetic, with no real feelings of sadness or happiness. Depression is nothing to feel ashamed of. Our brains are incredibly complex, and sometimes it can use a little assistance. We're better together than alone. Human beings are natural pack animals. That's why we crave so deeply to attain friendship and companionship. Aside from all other worldly and societal concepts, we live with our one and only real goal in this world is to simply survive, and we can't do that alone. History has proved that time and time again. We've lost our sense of local family and community, and that's been bad for everyone. I agree that our sense of community, or tribe, should be global, and inclusive of all people. However, I am uncertain how practical that desire is. We've built a society for the nuclear working family, not for a community. I am a stay-at-home single father, and the extra time during the day that had allowed me to start making community connections. Going to school functions, volunteering, chatting with the neighbors, getting to know the local chemist, butcher and local shopkeepers during the less hectic hours. It is awesome. I wish I had more money, but I love being a stay-at-home dad. I used to work 80 hours a week. I was not even alive. This is my life because of very specific circumstances. However, I wish no family was forced to have all the adults working all the time. You can make a comment in passing that can be really hurtful to someone and you won't even realize it. Words are something you can never take back. Something said thoughtlessly can become the core of an insecurity. I was teased when I was younger for not being the brightest. This started with my first grade teacher. I was struggling with addition large numbers, things like 1,131 plus 347, and was the only one not getting it. Out of frustration, she sighed, "I don't know if I can teach a kid as slow as you." Cue being teased until I switched schools and in lifelong insecurity about my intelligence. Still am a slow learner to this day, and try not to let it show. Think this is a pretty extreme example though. The teacher should have known way better. Work is just work, not your life. If the job you have makes you miserable, there's always another. My wife and I are solid work to live, not live to work people. We each have co-workers who barely take any time off and lose out of vacation time because of caps. Those same people are unsurprisingly the most burned out. Luckily we both have good bosses, so getting time off approved isn't an issue. The condition of hiring for her current job was that at some point she was going to be taking an entire month of work off. One job she got an offer, it said something like, "We'll see. We typically don't let employees take that much time off all at once." The other place agreed and she even got it in writing. Point being, we're at a point in our lives where if vacation time isn't approved, we will threaten and follow through with quitting if it comes down to it. My previous job I was denied time off. I told my boss, "Well, the trip is on XYZ date, so go ahead and consider that my last day." He tried to call my bluff, but 2 weeks before the scheduled trip I gave him my written 2 weeks notice and said I'm going on this trip if I work here or not. So if you want to see me after I am back, I'll throw this paper away. We use every ounce of paid time off we have available. Only keeping a day or two off in case of emergency. That disabled people are people, too. I'm deaf and I can't begin to tell you how many times I've been treated like a subhuman. And don't get me started on inspiration content. We disabled people are here to live our own lives, not to inspire you. We're actual people with our own thoughts and feelings. Many of us are quite intelligent, but we have to deal with being treated like children or cute pets. I'm an intelligent woman in my 30s with a successful career, and just the other day I was called adorable. So yeah. I wish more people would see us as actual people and treat us like equals. That being in a good spot in your life doesn't invalidate your mental health problems. It's even harder when you're in a good spot. When you're in a good place, you're like, why am I not happy? And you get that guilt for not appreciating what you have. Mental health is no different from physical health. You could have the perfect spouse, the perfect family and the perfect job. You could have a money bin like Scrooge McDuck. But if you break your leg, it's still gonna hurt and no one would think that's weird. Give yourself permission to feel how you feel. Acknowledge it. Give yourself space to heal. Just like the broken leg won't heal if you keep walking in it, your brain won't heal if you act like nothing's wrong. Feelings are not facts. Just because you feel something is true doesn't mean it is. Even if you insist that it is a fact or that science agrees with you when in reality it doesn't. See most gender-related arguments where people with a first-grade understanding of science insist their feelings are factual because they dislike that gender is more complicated than that. When you go to places where you have to wait in line, be prepared when you get to the front. If you're at the grocery store, have your coupons and reusable bags ready to go. When you're at the post office, have your package properly addressed. When you go to the bank, have your ID and transaction ready. It helps things go smoother and it's very appreciated. Your actions are what define you, not your own personal, internal dialogue of what's going on. It doesn't really matter what you think, it matters what you do. Everyone thinks they're a good person in their own head. A lot of modern humans, when you go deep, you find out they really are stupid, uneducated, and have no plans and actually do just sit on social media, video games, and fantasy and have no desire to change. Avoid them, they are life leeches. Don't just say, treat people the way you would like to be treated. Actually do that. Took me longer than I care to admit to figure that one out, but it's helped me become a better person than I was. A side benefit is that being mindful of others has helped me determine when someone isn't being particularly respectful to me. Figure I'll stay out of trouble if I minimize contact with people like that, without making a big deal about it. And everyone is judgmental. People say that, oh, I am not judgmental. Yes, you are. You might not be mean about it, but as soon as you see someone, you judge them on their clothes, their looks, how they interact with you. Before you even know them, you have established a certain amount of judgment based on who you think they could be. It's not a bad thing, but everyone does it as an automatic response to taking in your surroundings. That internet toxicity and arguing in comments sections largely doesn't do anything for anyone and doesn't change anyone's opinion. I'm definitely guilty of this. Changing people's opinions takes a lot of continuous effort, and most people aren't actually willing to put in the amount of effort that it would take to change someone's opinion genuinely. And that's okay. That we can't rely on technology to save us from ourselves. I know way too many people who say things like, "Who cares if I get lung cancer from vaping? By that point they'll have a cure for it anyway," or "I'm not too worried about climate change. We'll find ways to suck the carbon back out of the air before it becomes irreversible, or we'll all live on Mars." Look at all the progress with electric cars in the last decade. Yes, technology has done some truly incredible things in our lifetimes, but it is absolutely not a panacea. And we're going to find that out far, far too late if we keep telling ourselves otherwise. You are allowed to say no. On the flip side, that people are allowed to say no to you, and that doesn't invite arguing and pushing to get a yes. I realize this sounds like a consent thing, but it really applies to everything. Sometimes you just need time alone, or the thought of a particular activity adds stress to your life. You can say no to anything that makes your life more difficult, no matter how small. I wish more people realize that childhood emotional neglect destroys people and leaves them with psychological scars which they might never recover from. Raising kids like they're full-grown adults who have already learned the lessons of the world and that they simply have to apply them is as messed up as it is common. Adults self-medicating and never understanding why it is that they are the way that they are because of the trauma of having to raise themselves from a very young age. That, largely, people are disabled by environment, not their condition. If people using wheelchairs didn't have to worry about bumps, curbs, steep ramps and stairs, we wouldn't need to display signs letting them know they were allowed in certain public spaces. If people were taught sign language in school alongside their standard English substitute for your home country lessons, then deaf people would be able to communicate without issues, and we could all chat in cinemas without disturbing anyone not looking at us. If we made working from home a standard option for any job that is office-based / customer contact by phone, then anyone struggling mentally to get out of the house could just relax a bit, care for themselves and still be productive in their work. Our entire society is geared up to service the majority, yet having some basic changes in our world would not inconvenience them in any way, shape or form. You are not stuck in traffic, you are the traffic. A lot of things you imagine are happening to you are just happening. There is no inherent property of your existence such that if you could just discover it, would illuminate its purpose. Meaning is not an inherent property of anything, meaning is something you do. You choose what you want your life to mean through your actions and your behavior. So why not choose a life that means kindness and patience and generosity? That we are constantly being manipulated and influenced, and that it is mostly successful. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff such as advertising, biased reporting, politicians spouting and all the social media stuff we've heard about in recent years. There's a hell of a lot of more subtle stuff going on as well that just isn't obvious. One of the things I've been reading up on lately is nudge theory. Basically small little changes that you don't really notice or don't find inconvenient. But when loads of these are implemented over time, a big change occurs. There's a lot of that going on, and then not a lot of people notice it. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to realize it is the best thing you can do. Click the right box for the Society Lies to You playlist. Let us know in the comments what you think about these stories.